Shemai GTA fans, this week until this Thursday actually, the Sultan RS, not the Classic, is on offer at Benez. So this video is all about comparing the RS to the RS Classic, which is in blue. So the traditional Benny's RS is the pinky purple one with Princess Bubblegum livery. As you can tell, there's not a lot of difference. You put the wide arches on it, you can have the same spoiler, and they look really similar. I mean, the back end looks very different. Look at the angle on the RS Classic, 'cause it's um, two door. But overall, they're very similar looking cars. You can make them look very similar, but you don't have quite the same liveries. And I would argue there's better customization on the RS rather than the RS Classic. But what are they like performance like? This is what this video is all about. Like and subscribe for performance. So first off, we are on for a drag race. The engine sounds pretty much the same on both cars, and they're both off to a similar kind of start. As we approach the end of the drag strip here, it could go either way at this point. And the RS Classic has it by a fraction of a second. I think that's like 0.2 or 0.3 seconds. So there we go. Okay, let's do a basic loop around the airfield, shall we, and see how we do. So there's somebody having a fly in an aircraft and having a crash. Very nice. Okay, it's a great looking car. They both look great looking cars, but if I'm being honest, I think the RS is a bit better looking. I like the customization on it. They've both taken those first corner really nicely, and we're coming up to the second and final corner. This is the more tricky bit. I think they both have a tendency to skid a bit, these cars. It almost seemed like the RS Classic was skidding a bit more, but it's very hard to tell because they're both very similar. Okay, going into the last bend, and let's have a look in. Yeah, the RS just about has it by a split second over the RS Classic. Well, that's not definitive, is it? I think we need to go to the test track at this point to see if there's anything to separate these two cars. Okay, this is the Sultan RS, because we've already done the Classic. Coming up to the first hairpin, and it takes the corners really nicely, and no problems with understeer. This is a double hairpin, avoiding the water naturally, and it's super awesome on the corners. Acceleration is pretty good. Another hairpin, and then right-hander. Now it's the big left-hander, the 3-point left-hander here. So we have 1, 2. I was struggling on this, to be quite honest. 3. I think the Sultan RS Classic handles that bit a bit better because it doesn't skid as much on that corner. The S, and then we're into the 450, and then we're on our route home. Okay, it just takes it a bit wide. See, it takes it a bit wide there, and we're coming up to 58.12. Not a bad time. Middle of the road for cars, but looking at a test track table, you can see the RS Classic has come ahead of it by a good second and a bit there compared to the Sultan RS. So I think performance-wise, they are quite similar, but at least on the test track, the RS Classic has got the edge. And I think if you lower the car, the RS Classic will go faster in a straight line as well. So I was using sports suspension because that's the optimum for the RS Classic, compared to the Ultra Sports on the Benny's RS. So overall, what's the real difference between these cars? Well, performance-wise, the RS Classic is better, just about. But customization-wise, I think the Sultan RS is better than the RS Classic. I think it's got more options, and it's got more naked ladies on the liveries as well, if you're into that kind of thing. So it's also cheaper as well this week, 'cause it's only $500,000 for the upgrade with Benny's. So if you buy it before Thursday, it is better value. However, you can't race it in Los Santos Tuners races. So that's where the Sultan RS Classic comes into its own, because you can do LS Tuners races basically. So that's the reason to get the RS Classic. So yeah, I hope that's been useful. If it has been, then do drop a like. I'll put out my customization video if you fancy that, so I might do that later on this week. But overall, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.